Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Sanchez, and I'm the Director of Public Affairs for Hidalgo County. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, the first full day that new orders by Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez go into place. These orders are aimed at slowing the spread of COVID virus in Hidalgo County. Perhaps the most visible component of the latest order, which were issued yesterday and went into effect at midnight Tuesday, is the facial covering requirement. I'll go a little deeper into that requirement, but first I'd like to share some numbers. 1,184 people in Hidalgo County have now been tested. Of those, 128 people have tested positive, 955 have tested negative, and 101 tests are pending. As of yesterday, we also had our first death in Hidalgo County after a 76-year-old Alamo man tested positive for this strain of coronavirus. Upon learning of the man's death, Judge Cortez said, quote, "The death of this man from Alamo is indeed a reminder of the dangers of this disease, but I feel compelled to say that I am saddened by the news of the death of a member of our community. I want to express my sincere condolences to this man's family," end of quote. Judge Cortez again urges people to stay home where they are the safest. And he asks people to keep that in mind this Holy Week, particularly for anyone planning on any kind of family gathering for Easter. Please reconsider. The shelter-at-home order remains in effect, and those violating the orders are subject to fines and even jail. Judge Cortez has consistently emphasized that he is aware of the hardships these orders pose, but he is convinced, based on discussions with numerous health experts, that this will help save lives and it will help slow the rate of infection locally so that the healthcare system is not overwhelmed, much the way we are seeing in New York City and other parts of the country. Perhaps the biggest question that Judge Cortez's order yesterday provoked has to do with face coverings. As the order states, anyone aged 3 and older is required to wear a face covering when out in public. This includes parking lots, grocery stores, and public buildings. The only exception to this rule is when a person is driving and is inside a vehicle, or when a person is exercising, and as long as that person is observing the 6-foot physical distance separation. Some people have asked if they are required to wear a mask if they're taking out their garbage. And while that may sound like a facetious question, many medical experts are now saying that people may consider wearing facial coverings even while inside the house. That is certainly not part of Judge Cortez's mandate, but it is in line with the purpose of wearing facial coverings. It's not to protect you from others, but rather to protect others from you. Even the hint of fluid that may be exhaled from your body is now believed to be enough contagion to spread the COVID-19 virus. Finally, and what may seem completely off the subject, but is very much salient in today's state of disaster that we are officially in, I want to share some additional disturbing news that we as a community have the power to turn around. As you know, this year is when the once-a-decade census is taken of all people living in the United States. On a routine basis, the Census Bureau is providing updates on how well communities are responding and filling out their census forms. As of today, the United States has a response rate of 45.7%. Slightly less than half of all those living in the United States have responded. Texas has a response rate of 41.1%, which is slightly lower. Hidalgo County, however, has a response rate of just 28.8%. Fewer than 1/3 of all people living in this county have responded to the census. And some communities in Hidalgo County have a response rate of as low as 3%. That means that 97% of you have not filled out the census in that community. Now, what does this have to do with coronavirus? It has everything to do with recovery. As we look to the day when this threat subsides, and it will, we must begin looking at economic recovery. Congress has already passed a bill worth $2 trillion to help us out, but that money is allocated in great measure by population, and population is determined by the census. So as long as you're home, take the time to fill out the census so we can be counted when federal and state relief money is handed out. And this year, for the first time, you may fill out the census online. We will be providing a link to the form where you can fill out that census in the comments section below. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Hector Becerra, to convey this information in Spanish.
Muchas gracias, Carlos. De todas las órdenes nuevas que fueron implementadas ayer a medianoche por el juez del condado Richard Cortés, la más reconocida es el mandato de cobertura faciales o el uso de mascarillas. Este es uno de los esfuerzos más grandes que se está haciendo a nivel local para reducir la transmisión del coronavirus. Pero antes de entrar en detalles sobre qué se requiere, queremos compartir nueva información relacionada con los exámenes médicos que se están llevando a cabo en nuestro condado. Hasta el momento, más de 1,180 personas han recibido exámenes para el coronavirus. De esos, 128 han dado resultados positivos, 955 resultaron negativos y al momento más de 100 faltan de producir resultados. El día de ayer se reportó la primera fatalidad del condado. La víctima, un hombre de 76 años de edad, se había resultado positivo por el coronavirus. Al informarse de los hechos, el juez Richard Cortés hizo este comentario. La muerte de este hombre de Álamo es verdaderamente un recuerdo verdaderamente que este virus es muy peligroso y esta enfermedad es muy en serio. Pero me siento obligado a decir que me dio mucha tristeza al saber de la muerte de este miembro de nuestra comunidad. El juez continúa pidiendo a la comunidad que se mantengan en casa, ya que esta es la mejor manera de evitar ser contagiado. Les pide que por favor tomen en cuenta que aunque esta semana es Semana Santa, eviten tener reuniones familiares. Recuerden que las nuevas órdenes ya se están llevando a cabo y la violación de ellas podrían resultar en multas o posiblemente llegar a dar a cárcel. Así que por favor respeten las nuevas órdenes. Pero posiblemente la pregunta más grande tiene que ver con la cobertura faciales o las mascarillas. La orden indica que cualquier persona mayor de 3 años se le requiere traer una mascarilla puesta cuando anden fuera de sus casas. Es decir, si se encuentran en el supermercado, edificios públicos y hasta en un estacionamiento, todos debemos de traer nuestras mascarillas puestas. La única excepción a esta orden es si se encuentran, por ejemplo, manejando solos en sus vehículos o si están haciendo ejercicio y mientras sigan practicando una distancia de 6 pies, una distancia física de 6 pies para evitar el transmite del virus. Algunas personas han preguntado si es necesario ponerse la mascarilla dentro de sus hogares. Al momento, la orden no exige que uno debe de traer su mascarilla puesta a todos momentos, pero sí muchos expertos médicos ahora aconsejan que la gente use sus mascarillas aunque estén dentro de sus hogares. No tanto es para protegerse de otras personas que tengan el virus, sino para proteger a otras personas en el evento que usted sea o que ya traiga, ya esté contagiado por el coronavirus. Simplemente con el respirar el mismo aire o estar alrededor de una persona que está tosiendo o estornudando es más que suficiente para ser contagiado. Y finalmente queremos terminar este informe recordando que este año es cuando se toma el censo de todas las personas que viven en los Estados Unidos. La Oficina del Censo proporciona actualizaciones sobre cómo están respondiendo las comunidades a llenar sus informes del censo. Hasta hoy, los Estados Unidos tienen una tasa de respuesta del 45.7%. El estado de Texas tiene una tasa de respuesta del 41.1% y el condado de Hidalgo tiene una tasa de respuesta del 28.8%. Algunas comunidades dentro del condado de Hidalgo tienen una tasa de respuesta hasta el 3%. ¿Pero qué tiene que ver esto con el coronavirus? En realidad, tiene todo que ver con nuestra recuperación a medida que veamos el día en que esta amenaza por fin desaparezca. Debemos comenzar a ver la recuperación económica. El Congreso ya ha pasado una factura que vale más de $2 trillones para asistir, pero el dinero es asignado por población y la población es determinada por el censo. Es todo por ahora, así que gracias, Carlos.
Muchas gracias, Hector. That concludes today's update. Please go to the county's website, Hidalgo County US, for the latest information. And thank you all for your time.